This dresser is not perfect, and neither am I. I'll show you how I use all of my favorite tricks for layering decoupage paper.
I came to California to do this boot camp. I thought that I kind of knew it all. I learned more about myself than I did about learning how to do video.
Packed my luggage, headed to California, arrived at DIY headquarters, and realized I brought all of my excess baggage with me. Yep, all of my fears and doubts and insecurities. You know, we all have them. I had to finish and film a piece in 4 hours. I picked out a piece of furniture, 3 colors of Debi's DIY paint, and a beautiful JRV decoupage paper.
We spend so much energy trying to hide those parts of us.
DIY headquarters is no longer a shop. It's used as storage. Debi told me that she shoved all the broken parts into that back room, hoping no one would see them. Well, that's the spot that I picked. That's exactly where I wanted to be. I could hide away, work on my piece, and work on my baggage.
We always think we want to take that furniture and hide all the imperfections, right? And to cover everything up. What we do with paint and decoupage is a way to enhance those flaws.
After a thorough cleaning, I sand my piece just to knock off all the rough edges.
I mean, I have a history, right? We all have a history. I'm broken in a lot of places.
I'm giving my dresser 1 coat of Tarnished Pearl, a beautiful Debi's DIY neutral.
Sun is shining.
When you decoupage, that paper is a little bit transparent. So you want to make sure that you have a color behind it that is going to allow the vibrancy of the printed image to come through.
When that layer of paint is dry, pull out all the drawers, lay them in order on the floor. It makes it a lot easier to lay out your papers and to decoupage.
Typically, I cut apart everything that I use. I just hack it up. I cut around all the edges, and you're using scissors. It's a straight cut. It's going to look like a sticker that's on there.
Lay out the pieces of the papers in a way that's pleasing to you. I'm always careful to watch for the eye placement. If I have an eye, I don't want it to be stuck between 2 drawers or where one of the handles is.
You got me all lost, so blinded. You got me all lost. Listen to my.
I used 3 of these JRV papers. Cut them all apart, got every flower that I could because I want to create lots of layers. You can tear the decoupage paper anywhere you need to just to make it fit into those funky spaces around the trim.
Throw that liquid patina on there.
Start with 1 section at a time, lifting the paper, applying the liquid patina, pressing it into place, lifting up the next section, and working my way down.
While it's still wet and that paper is wet, I take my thumb and the edge all around there to kind of like roughen up that edge a little bit, and that takes away that sharp cut edge. That's what you do.
The wet paper makes it easy to tear and form around tricky spots, even like the handles.
Our inclination is to want it to be absolutely perfect. And, you know, there's iron-on methods and there's all this stuff that never has worked for me, so I've just learned to kind of like go with it.
Wrinkles don't bother me too much, but one way that I like to minimize the wrinkles on my piece is to use the IOD brayer. Continue to work down the piece following the same steps. Liquid patina, press it in place. If you get a boo-boo, it's okay. It's wet paper, it will tear. I'm going to show you later how to fix it. Here's another good trick. I use my thumbnail to break apart that wet paper between the drawers. Then I can separate the drawers without a problem. Now just keep layering the pieces, splitting apart any smaller pieces where you need to, if they're going to overlap a drawer.
You can't come around just as you please. Pretend to wear your heart.
So yeah, I just keep layering until I have a pleasing arrangement. I'll use my thumbs, my favorite tool, if I need to work around any handles or hardware. I also use my thumbnails to roughen up the wet edge around each of those decoupage pieces. I don't want this to look like a sticker.
My pieces aren't perfect. I want them to be structurally sound. I want them to look like they've been around forever, like they have a history. They've been used and worn over generations. That's the look that I want. So the wrinkles are good. That's a good thing.
Why aren't they good on our face?
They're never good on your face. Well, you know what? Maybe they are. Maybe in the end, it really doesn't matter where our wrinkles are, on decoupage or on our faces. It's part of our history.
If you have any overhang along the drawer edges, once your paper is completely dry, you can take a little sanding pad or sandpaper, run it along the edge, and then easily separate the excess. Then put all the drawers in place and start painting in those areas that need an extra coat of paint. I work my way around the decoupage papers and right up to them, adding extra coverage where it's needed, even painting just a little bit onto the edge of the paper. This is the paint color Little Black Dress, to fill in those areas where I had torn decoupage paper before. If I need to, I'll mix it with the Tarnished Pearl to get different variations of gray. I want to closely match as best I can with the colors of gray that are in this decoupage paper.
I took a brush and I just kind of stippled and blended. And I even used, I used what I had. I had baby wipes, so I kind of blotted with that just to soften those edges and kind of make it look like it's going to blend out.
You are my sunshine.
What I ended up learning was that I had a lot to learn about myself.
This is Debi's DIY Apothecary. I used just a little bit, brushed here and there, to create some contrast and a little more interest. Remember that ugly green paint? I'm going to use it to my advantage. Using a damp cloth, I can wet distress to remove all of those extra layers of paint. I can reveal other layers of Debi's paint, and I can reveal that green paint on the original piece. For the finish, I'll use DIY clear wax, applying it all over my piece. DIY black wax helps to create more depth and interest in certain areas of my dresser. The next day, I'll buff it to a soft sheen.
My work is a result of the history that I have, both good and bad. There are places that I need to be fixed as well. Painters, as creatives, as people who do beautiful furniture, that's a reflection of who you are. And that's all of who you are, even the ugly parts.
Let your flaws and imperfections show. Let them be a part of the history of the piece that you're painting. I'm glad I came to boot camp, but I'm ready to go home now, and I'm ready to start working on those areas in my own life that need to be fixed.
Is it hard as a perfectionist that I can see you are to have 4 hours?
You think I'm a perfectionist? Seriously? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to get over that.
You can buy Debi's DIY products and JRV Decoupage papers at ellenjgoods.com or at our brick and mortar shop in Medina, New York.